From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, show about Star Wars pop culture and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Knapsack for a special edition of Star Wars Rank. Why is it a special edition? Because they're all special, because Joseph Scrimshaw is here to rank more Star Wars planets. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, I feel very special. I'm very excited to talk about planets. And man, my fingers are sore from Googling on old Wikipedia because my brain is a little foggy. And I had a lot of that. You know, the planet where they did the thing and the guy fell. And then...
the guy.
But I got them all back. I think I got them all back.
Same. I just went through God bless the StarWars.com databank, which has generated so much of Star Wars related podcasting for us over the years. Databank Bro, which, by the way, folks, is still being replayed on our podcast feed every Sunday morning. We are... as the title will suggest this episode, continuing our look at our favorite Star Wars planets. Last time out, we ranked our favorite planets in the Lucas era. So this time out, we're going to look at the Disney era. Oh, what a controversial era indeed. Why is it controversial? Because there's so many planets to choose from. That's the controversy we're talking about here today. We will be working our way 10 to 1. We'll throw in some close calls. But Joseph, you admitted right where I'm at too. Let's just be honest. A lot going on in life. We've been talking about Star Wars our whole lives, but a long time here on the podcast, and I'm starting to get to the point, just like you're saying, was that in that show? What episode was that? Wait, was that a thing? Am I dreaming? And it's been fun to make a list and try to relearn all the planets. You're in the same spot right now as we rank.
Yeah, there was just definitely like the ones from the films, like, okay, those are pretty close and all that. But like just going through my mental Rolodex for like, what is every planet that appears in The Mandalorian? And Book of Boba Fett was easy. But all just the in Rebels, you know, just like the number of different shows that there's been in the Disney era. It's a lot of planets.
Yes. Yeah, and look, I'll be honest, could we have broken this down a little bit more and done movies and shows and everything? Yeah, but we're recording this on a Wednesday. It's sunny outside. We want to go live some life. We're going to just do this episode now. A lot to choose from. It's going to be fun, as I said. And you're a long-time listener. You know how we do this, 10 to 1. But this time, with our version of the shows we've been launching this past year, or we launched this past year, I should say, Joseph and I are going to work together. It's kind of like a fantasy baseball draft. It's also kind of how well do you know your podcasting partner? This is almost the newlywed game for podcasters. Who's choosing what? Where do things go? And it adds a little bit more tension for us as the podcasters, not you, the audience. Mm-hmm. So on that note, I forgot to do my normal. I'm going to go first because we always want you to end up with number one. It's just what we do around here.
Okay. All right. I don't think I would do as well on the newlywed game version of this because I know some of the planets that you like events, but I don't know as well like what planets you're like, of course.
Well, I don't know myself when it comes to planets, because even putting my list together, my metric for what makes me like the planet changes perhaps, right? From planet to planet, and it not being so simple as, well, I grew up loving that planet as a kid. It is about what happened there or what I learned about the planet, but also sometimes just how it looks and what toys I can buy from there. Like,
yeah, some of them have been like, do I love the planet or do I just love that one scene that happens on that planet?
Yeah, I'm still weighing that.
Yeah,
weighing that myself. All right, I'll do it here. I'll begin. Our first choice, our number 10 choice. I'm automatically. I kind of think this is a cheat, but I'm happy with that. Okay, Go with me here, Joseph. By the way, this is not planets necessarily introduced in the Disney era. This is just planets featured prominently in Disney era. Open it up to all of. Oh, did you? Yeah, I just figured things featured.
I wrote down a couple things that I thought were debatable and made an asterisk and said that's debatable. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Well, this first choice might be debatable. My cheat choice at number 10 is Coruscant.
Ooh.
It's Coruscant.
Okay.
Did we spend a lot of time in the prequels? Yeah. Did it make our list last time out? Yes. The whole planet's a city. Of course it's going to make the list. But going back to that Rogue One moment where you see it out the window in that flashback with Jen and Krennic and her parents, we had this thirst for returning to Coruscant. It was this thing like, wow, could you imagine in this modern age the way some things are shot now? Nothing against the prequels at all. It's just imagine looking at it in a different way. And that did happen, whether it's in some of the animation stuff, but I'm definitely thinking about Andor and what they did. And for me, personal take, they struck this great balance of Coruscant as this giant planet city in a sci-fi fantasy series versus let's go actually shoot in some real locations and turn parts of that into this thing so it feels lived in and all those things we can talk about. But I actually, for me, it really worked. Would I wanted one or two more shots of Dexter in his diner? Of course, but there's a little cool diner spot. There's shopping centers and grocery stores, high-rise towers. There's the elite. There's the lower levels. There's all those things there, and I really feel I finally, not just with Andor, but some of the other things too that have popped up in this era. Mandalorian season 3, having ice cream treats. And walking around Coruscant, I feel I finally got to spend the time on that planet that I wanted. So when I think of this era, I think of planets I love. I still think Coruscant. That's why it's my number 10 choice.
This is great because it forces us to face the controversy. Do we leave room on this list of 10 for planets that were new in the Disney era, which there are so many to choose from with all of the television shows and movies, television shows live and animated? Or do we go with our hearts of what did we actually see of the planet? And this one, I think I understand why you're going there. I think obviously featured, lots of different places, some great Bad Batch scenes on Coruscant. Yes. But between that Mandalorian episode, in particular, seeing the Monument Plaza, that has been a part of the canon of Coruscant for a long time, discussed in publishing stories, but that the one last natural part of the planet that was tall enough to be seen above the city is nothing left but this tiny peak. And around the time that Mandalorian episode was coming out, there were also scenes in the High Republic books where more of the mountain was exposed hundreds of years previously. And you have been interacting with the squirrels in your yard, and we're trying not to just turn this into Squirrel Center. But there is this deep and interesting truth to me of the organic is a part of cities, even if we have a kind of rural and country divide. Like there are animals everywhere, right?
Yes.
There are squirrels in your backyard right now who might become your best friend in one of the largest metropolitan areas on the planet. And that little picture of just that peak of mountain coming out of Coruscant was just fascinating. So I think it's worth it for that alone, as well as the amazing Andor stuff. If you had been able to tell me years ago, Mon Mothma is going to escape the Senate by going out to the back of Hall H in San Diego Comic-Con, which is what it looks like. It isn't actually, but it really looks like it. She's going to get on George R.R. Martin's boat for that party. It's great. It's great stuff.
Love it. All right, cool. All right. I thought I cheated, but maybe I didn't. But that is our number 10 as a team, but your first choice is up here at number 9.
Well, I think this is one that we talked about when you came up with this great idea, because it's one that has been a favorite of mine. I'm going to put it on here early because I want it on here early. And it is from Kenobi, and it is called, in my mind, Stabby Rock Moon. Don't know the name of the planet, and that's one of the reasons that I love it. I think I remember it being a moon, but I think it is a Stabby Rock Moon. This is where Kenobi and Vader have their fateful conflict at the end of the Kenobi television show. There had been debate, and I think we got a question about if Kenobi and Vader are going to face off again, where is it? And I remember we had a long discussion about like where would be sort of thematically appropriate. And I love that what it ended up to be is it's thematic of their relationship, in that it's just sort of a planet that's like high budget Star Trek fighting planet of just unknown planet, just full of wounds and scars and sharp points and desolate. And it feels so well designed to look like the way Kenobi is feeling about violence in the Kenobi television show of he's so haunted by what he did to Anakin on Mustafar, what he felt he needed to do, and how far that was from what he wants it to mean to be a Jedi. defend and protect and not to attack and kill. And then to end up facing Vader again and coming to that point of just like, oh, you're just nothing but violence and anger, and you're just going to want to fight forever, and I'm just going to walk away from you. And to have this stabby rock moon that represents that. It's also just a cool place for a fight. And probably the biggest thing about it that I've gone on about before, it looks like the cover of some dusty paperback you'd find buried at a used bookstore in the 1970s, of just like a strange moon where all the rocks are knives. It's just in the way it's rendered. It's the best use of the volume to me to make things that look otherworldly and almost painted in a beautiful way. I just love the aesthetic of it, and I love the meaning of it. So it's got to go on the list for me.
I think it's perfectly placed. I would have won this round of Newlywed Podcaster Edition because you've spoken so wonderfully about it in the past, and I'm right there with you on it. And I had this up on the screen because I figured this would come at some point. It is officially in the databank as Barren Moon.
Ooh.
On a nameless moon not far from Jabeam, Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi meet for a critical duel. The satellite of rocky spires and yawning crevices becomes a historic sight as a former Jedi Master emerges victorious and accepts that his friend Anakin Skywalker is truly gone. So, love that. Love the description. Truly a paperback cover like you're talking about in the back of a Nan's pre-owned books in Grover Beach, California. But I love that there is a very intentional choice to not name it yet or not name it at all. It adds to the mystique and adds to the use of it. And I just recently rewatched that series maybe about a month or two ago, and it's still very effective to me. And in the end, a great choice of you could have gone other spots. Hell, you could have gone back to Mustafar. But I like that it was just this barren wasteland of violence and emotion and torture and pain and ultimately release and understanding for Kenobi. Great spot.
Yeah, and that Kenobi would lead him there away from everyone to a place where the fighting doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's also another vote for Stabby Rock Moon.
Stabby Rock Moon, which sounds like a resort that we all get to go to at some point. Which leads me to my number 8 choice there, and I'm going to move. I'm already making a. Let me not be as controversial this time. Let me just go to something. But I am going to kind of... Oh, nope, I'm going to cheat again. But it's not just on film. This also, you got to explore it in video games. My number 8 choice is Starkiller Base / Ilum.
I am relieved because now I can move it off my list and make more room. That's the one that I marked as... if Ken doesn't do this one, I'm doing it, even though it's controversial, because technically, yes, it's Ilum, and we spent time there. But I feel like Starkiller Base is a different deal.
Totally, 100% agree with you. And yes, we had been there before, but yet, in Fallen Order, you get to crawl around it a bit. And also was the level that I got stuck on. I think I finished the game, but when I went back to explore the planets more, I got stuck there and have never got off. I'm still there in Ilum. If I was ever to play it again. I just love it. And it's even in choosing this, I don't even know if 2015 Ken would agree with me, because I was on the team of love Starkiller Base, but hey, it's another big globe-like, killer weapon that's going to destroy things. And back then I was a little less interested in that. And now it's just part of a bigger story. I love we're going to build it bigger and better than the previous 2 Death Stars. In fact, it's a whole planet. I also like that it was maybe the Hux family project in a way, and that it causes problems. And also, taking from the sun and powering the planet in 2015, I was still in a headspace of don't know how to describe it as too fantasy, too stuff. I just was like, I don't know if that's a bridge too far for me. But now when I look at it, I am thrilled by it, and I loved my time on that planet. I loved Kylo and Rey having this fight. I love that in the trailers we had no idea where we were going, but we were already pulled in by snow and trees, and is that ash or snowfall? It just was such a mystery, and then to actually go there and then it be the death of our boy Han Solo, the final spot there. Some of the greatest moments, even just in terms of that's not how the Force Force works. I love the atmosphere dogfight there. I think it's one of the best looking dogfights in Star Wars in terms of ship on ship action. So I love spending my time there, and I have a lot of those. I was a sucker, and a good sucker because it's a Star Wars fan. But if they released Kylo and Rey on Starkiller base versions of figures, I bought them because I had a lot of fun there. And the mystery of Ilum. And then eventually us getting that answer that it was in fact Ilum only added to the mystique of it for me. So that's my number 8, but more from you on that.
Yeah, no, I think these are all great reasons, and it was the Fallen Order video game where it was confirmed, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And I love that. That was a really fun thing. That was a fun thing for fans to have conjecture over of like, I bet that's Ilum. And it makes so much narrative sense that Palpatine in power would want to find every power source he could, and he would want to violate things that were sacred to the Jedi and turn, places of peace and self-discovery, like those great gathering episodes in the Clone Wars, and turn it into another big gun. It is such a great and accurate parody of the way an authoritarian mind works of, hey, power, can I turn that into a gun to threaten other people with? I feel like there were early kind of like late 90s like bar conversations that I had about, people back in the day really didn't like the Death Star, the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi. Right. I think for the most part, I think a lot of younger viewers don't care now, but feel free to correct me if you do. But back then, that was one of the big dings against Return of the Jedi. And I remember having lots of conversations where myself and other people came up with, it should have been a planet. They should have just made a planet into a Death Star. So when The Force Awakens came out, I was like, J.J. Abrams must have been in a bar in the late 90s having that conversation as well, because he did it. So that the Ilum connection, the just let's make a bigger gun is great. Two things that I really love about it. I do love it as the strange final resting place of Han Solo, of this guy who didn't believe in the Jedi or the Force, and is now on a planet that is, made of the Force and central to the Force, and has this sad confrontation with his son when the cosmic sun is drained, the lights go out, and so does Han Solo. But then that he falls to the heart of this planet made of Kyber energy, and it becomes a star. Like, it's a pretty romantic final resting place for the grump we met in 1977 who didn't believe in any of this. So there's that about, I guess, Starkiller's son now, Ilum's son. But the biggest thing for me is that fight in the haunted woods straight out of the Brothers Grimm. There is something about the way that was shot that kind of like the Stabby Rock Moon. It doesn't look entirely real in a great way. It looks like the deepest, darkest fantasy. There's so much work in the film of the audience being exposed to the real vulnerable person who is Kylo, the unscarred person who doesn't need that mask, but seen through the eyes of Rey and Finn and Poe. Is this just god-awful monster because of his choices? And it is these young innocents, these these new kind friends of Finn and Rey meeting this unspeakable monster in the dark woods and discovering if they have the strength to face him. It's so mythical in a great way, and so like old fantasy fable, Brothers Grimm stuff. I love it.
I'm with you. Two of my favorite moments in Star Wars are Finn picking up that blade in an act of courage and bravery. Even if he felt out of his depths, he was going to do it. He had, not just connected to Rey, as we know, his big theme. And then that lightsaber flying to Rey, that's still to this day one of the chill-inducing moments, and it all takes place there. So there's that metric. Is it the planet? Is it the action? It's all of it here. It's a history. How we tell the story there now. Yeah. All right, we're off and running.
Okay.
Controversial stuff. You're number 7.
Actually, now that I think about it, 2 on my list are ones that you might do. So I'm going to wait. And I am going to go with a more modern one. I am going to select from the television program Skeleton Crew, Atton. Uh,
Yep.
Was this on your list?
It was. Yes. It could have been the next pick. I believe
Okay.
it's a bottom 5 of the top 10.
Okay.
So it's right where you. Perfect pick. Perfect pick.
This is one of those planets that I feel like a lot of people, their first glimpse of it, obviously the trailer, where it looked too much like Suburbia, looked too much just like we're riffing on Spielberg, Amblin films from the 80s that looked like this is exactly where E.T. happened and all that.
Right.
And I was cautiously optimistic that it wasn't just a design, it was a theme. And I loved that they followed through on the idea of like, what is wonderful about a suburb? What is wonderful about growing up with a decent amount of security, not worrying too much about food or clothing or your parents having stable jobs? And what is scary about that level of conformity and that level of everybody should kind of be like each other and don't question too much. The show, if that was all the show did, is we have a suburb planet in Star Wars and it's going to wrestle with the actual glory and fears of a suburb. But the fact that it then became this is a pirate show about treasure, and the treasure is the lost planet of Atton, and the slow build of that. I'm rewatching Skeleton Crew with my wife. My wife didn't get to watch it the first time around, so I'm getting to see it again through her eyes. And in the second episode, when the little clues started to drop about something being weird about Atton, and the dime dropped that, it's like, oh, it's a lost planet. Her eyes lit up. It does such a great job of capturing what is fun about pirate stories and treasure stories. And then I think does a great job of, is the treasure the money, or is the treasure the home and the security and the support? And all of that is baked into the lost planet of Atton, which is also just Brooklyn Center for me.
Well said all the way through. This is an excellent addition to our list. I love the series. You love the series. So glad that Sarah's enjoying it too. I think we're going to bang on this series for a while. We're going to carry the flag for Skeleton Crew. I don't want it to be forgotten. And there's so many people who enjoy it, but obviously Andor shows up a little bit later, and a lot of focus on that. This wonderful series needs to be celebrated more in this planet. For what it was from the beginning, a little controversy. I think we were always a little more positive on the Amblin suburb vibe for the things that you said about what we felt it could be. Also, just the idea of like, what fun, like what if, like let's explore it. I understood some of the resistance to the idea of just, well, those are suburbs. There's a house. Like I get it, but it really worked just on that level. Like seeing Neil's family. Seeing just that kind of life in Star Wars, like I thought was really effective, but where it goes, without a doubt, as you said, the planet itself being the treasure that I am currently finishing an Ahsoka rewatch, and already on my list is a Skeleton Crew rewatch, and I just want to go back there. I just want to go back to that first episode where they're on space bikes, trying to get to school. I want to go spend some more time there, and I want to go take a bath. Neil could take his bath. I'll go take my bath. I want to go live there, and I would love, whether it's Skeleton Crew season 2, the college years. I do want to see where Atton could connect to some of the storytelling going forward. It doesn't need to be a main thing, but even just a reference. I think there's a lot of great, wonderful what ifs with this planet because it's so magical. And as you said, one of the big reasons is I could sit there all day and just say Atton because it's so fun. And that's what the series was to me. Fun with amazing amount of depth.
Yeah, and man, rewatching it, just like all of the puzzle pieces of that story, of those character arcs, fit together so well. It's such an incredibly well done show, and Atton's right at the heart of it.
I love that. Okay, we are moving along here, and I'm looking at all my choices. Oh boy, this is it. Starts to get close. Starts to get tough. Which is the fun. I am gonna go. All right, so I am gonna go on my what are we at 6? All right, so we're still in the bottom 5 of our top 10 because I gotta be honest, I don't have necessarily. Yeah, no, there's themes to explore here. It's ForceCenter. We know we love digging deep into the sand and finding what's there, but I also think as you said up top, what's confusing about my choices? Sometimes it's just the amazing sequences that I got to experience on that planet, the conversations that came out of the planet's existence, including the style of troopers on it. I'm talking about Scarif. We're going to Rogue One.
Yeah.
Let's go to the beach, baby.
Yeah.
Love everything about it. Love the design. And yes, it is that Star Wars thing, and you can have fun with it if you want. And we do have fun with it of, hey, what if we had a beach planet? And what if we had shore troopers? What if these troopers had, lighter armor, because it was a good detail to get. And they wanted to sit there. But also there is the Citadel Tower, and all the things that represents. And yes, there's a bit of a paradise with the secrets to the Empire buried beneath it, so we can follow the thematic stuff there. But this final 30 minutes, man, I just go back to running out of the first viewing I had of Rogue One and just getting to my pal Jeremy's car and being like, "Did you see then the walker exploded and then the Star Destroyer, and that is what Scarif is for me. It is. People talk about playing with the action figures. That's the literal sandbox that we got to go have a lot of fun with and see some amazing heroic action from the rebels. See the Empire fall about. See Krennic get upset. Deploy the garrison, and his death happens.
Blind? Yeah.
Are we blind? The tragic, sad, but also somewhat bittersweet ending of Cassian, who now we know so well. Jyn, your father would be proud. The music, Giacchino's music that comes out of that sequence. Everything happens on Scarif. And when I think of the Disney era and planets I want to spend more time on, as I did in the first Battlefront in 2015, where they released that DLC, it's Scarif. So that's my number 6 choice.
Scarif was one that I was like, oh, I do think Ken will maybe take this one so I can move something else up from my runners-up list. But Scarif would say have to be on it. I feel like Scarif is one of the planets from the modern age that is already as beloved as like Hoth and Endor from the original trilogy. And I think it's because it's captivating for lots of reasons. What actually happens there is, it's some of the best warzing in Star Wars, where it is great action and it is meaningful, and there should be great play sets of the data vault and the bunkers and all that. But it's a fascinating combination to me of, okay, in the original trilogy, the planets were just, different environments. And then in the prequel trilogy, we knocked a couple more off. We got an all ocean planet finally with Camino. And then George, got to go to CGI Town and start making some weirder things with Felucia, a planet of big, weird, scary flowers. And, Mandalore, where everything is cubist that we talked about. Scarif is a little bit back to that. Okay, what environments haven't we done? Sandals Resort Planet? I mean, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so paradise-like. And then to dump this great evil on it of the Empire. And the Empire is always evil, but what they're up against in this sort of the knowledge that I'm probably not going to make it, and it against this incredibly beautiful, backdrop, I think is really a great decision to not, especially in a film where we visited Mustafar, to not have the big scary Imperial planet be big and scary, but instead be like, this is another beautiful place that they have perverted with their evil. And the shore troopers, I'm on record, they're my favorite trooper. It's in a more grounded Star Wars movie like Rogue One. There's still the absolute whimsy of like the troopers who get assigned to beach, and they before Ken was beach was his job. Shore troopers had beach as a job.
There's the crossover right there.
Yeah. So the shore troopers are great. The image. I think I'll just always be a sucker for put stormtroopers in an environment we haven't seen before. Seeing them wade through the water in the promotional shots, fantastic.
Yeah, no, love it. Well said indeed, as always. But final thought for me on that is you're absolutely right. Like, I know we're coming up on 10 years, so that seems like a lifetime. but this is a new planet that was instantly a classic. And when it's mentioned now, there's a lot of those, knowing glances. Oh, hey, Scarif, right? Like they're going back to Scarif, and I love that. I love that for us as fans and for Scarif, the planet. So there you go. The Imperial Paradise of Scarif, number 6. But now we have reached the top 5. Your choice is next.
Ooh, well, that's hard. Now I'm going to have to make decisions because I have another planet that I feel must be on the list. I have 2 more planets that I feel must be on the list, but you take either of them. I'm gonna risk it. We might end up with a weird number 1, and I think it's worth the risk. As long as we're talking about beautiful ocean worlds, I'm gonna put Ahch-To on the list.
It's on my list. I think perfectly placed. That might have been my next one too.
Nice. It's weird to think that Scarif and Ahch-To kind of have a little bit in common in that they're like, mostly gorgeous water, but little bits of land. But they are so different, right? The beaches of Scarif are very, very different, with a little bit more cruise ship port than Ahch-To, obviously the real islands in Ireland or off the coast of Ireland. This idea of where is Luke going to be hiding? Where is the first Jedi Temple going to be? It could have been one of the many awesome, Force-related planets like Dagobah or Agen Kloss that are shown to be sort of like teeming with life from the jungle. And I love that this is a combination of teeming with life, because in our real world, nothing is more teeming with life than the ocean. So, it is teeming with life. We get to see a lot of the wildlife. We get to see a lot of the indigenous people in the caretakers, the Lene. But it's also just such a great, fascinating visual, not only for Luke to be alone, but if this was the first Jedi Temple, this doesn't feel like a planet for a group of people who are like, we really want to interact with the rest of the galaxy. This is I don't want to talk to anybody ever again planet. Right? They are
cabin in the woods, yes.
Isolated into these bits of land, and obviously there can be a community on it, and there was with the Jedi. But there's something just so fascinating about it. It's so beautiful. It's so dreamlike. It feels so connected and full of life, and yet so isolated at the same time that it just felt perfect for where Luke was. And then all the amazing storytelling that happens there.
Yeah, I think it is the series of storytelling. It is the, time that we got to spend wondering about it from the end of Force Awakens to The Last Jedi. And then they come back in Last Jedi and just, really explore what that planet is and have so much fun with this location that was, kind of handed to them like a baton, and it delivered on the premise. I love returning to it in Rise of Skywalker, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in some other storytelling. I don't think Big Jim Mangold's worried about checking boxes on canon, so I'm not saying if his film comes to life that it's going to be a location, but it would work, and Prime Jedi, and there's a lot of wonderful new lore introduced with this planet, and also I know it's obviously very real location that some folks have had the chance to get out to. What is it, Skellig Michael there? That's great. I don't know if I'll ever get out there, but just it's one of those, that map in one of the visual dictionary books is like a map that I stared at for a while, like, oh, so when they were walking there, that was this, I haven't had that kind of wonder since I was young, right? And that was part of the fun of Star Wars returning. So in 2015, where is this? What is it? I know Porgs came later, but then you get to explore it, and I hadn't felt that since probably '83. And that is why we'll always love it, and it is magical and mysterious, and I'm convinced it has a gift shop. And that's where Luke's lightsaber sits. As the Lene just gather all things left behind by Jedi who travel here. If they
it's dangerous to go alone by an old Jedi's lightsaber. Yeah, I think, especially in the context of when it came out in Force Awakens, and I think I've banged on about one of the things that I love about Star Wars is this sense of nostalgia of the past matters, starting with A
Mm-hmm.
New Hope, and that the kind of I was a child, and the hair stood up on the back of my neck of that's a name
Mm-hmm.
I've not heard in a long time ago, and that sense of mystery and beauty of the strange things that came before us, and seeing Rey climb up these stairs of like, this is an ancient place, and people used to be here because there are stairs, but they're so
Yeah.
covered with history. I think finding a real physical location in our real world that evoked that was such a great way to start the storytelling of Luke really connecting with how ancient the Jedi are.
Wonderful. Yeah. If and again, I know it's a real place in our world. I want people, if they were ever to, if Disney was to buy another section off Harbor Boulevard in Anaheim and expand Galaxy's Edge, just make it Ahch-To. Put some rides on there.
Yeah, just let us go to the Lene dance party. Let us be there when
Yeah.
their pirate husbands come home. Yep.
In that same area where Galaxy's Edge is now, was a dance club in the late 80s. Someone, more Disney historian, might correct me on the time period, but yes, my older cousin, before you, I remember she went to a party there. My mom's just like, now they got dancing at Disneyland. So maybe that could be it. Great choice. Ahch-To, number 5. All right, we're in the top 4. I just now the pressure is on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could be cute. I could be honest. I could also spend a lot of time on a planet that we spend little time on. But I'm going to go, going to take our first big swing through Star Wars animation.
Yeah.
I realized how much I love this planet when I was doing my Ahsoka rewatch, and that is Lothal.
Oh,
let us go to
one.
Lothal. Yeah. Love talking about new planets that become instant classics. We've been with this planet since 2014. Going to spend a ton of time there. From not just Ezra, but just and the people but Ryder Azadi and all these people that we got to spend time with there, and all the action. So all the metrics come to place, and then in Ahsoka, seeing it in live action. I was just doing this rewatch and seeing that highway and when our introduction to Sabine, I was like, that's pretty damn cool. I don't want to overlook that, that they were able to envision this planet years ago, and they get a chance to bring it to life in a new way, because it's very much alive in the animated series. You and I had that experience. I know we've talked about it before in 2022 in Anaheim, being in the Rebels panel and just, a show we love, but being surrounded by fans who Rebels is their Star Wars. And they're of all ages. It's not just that, hey, I was 12 when I Rebel. No, it's of all ages. So many different people, but Rebels is something special. And when you run into, our pal Lauren Romo of the Galactic podcast, man, she loves Rebels, and she's in our generation of fans, and that show represents so many people. And Lothal's, that's like their Tatooine, ours too. But it's it's a central location with so many mysteries, so many stories, so many things yet to learn, and maybe we will. So Lothal, number 4, putting it out there.
Yeah, I think it did a great job in animation of kind of following through on some of the design, obviously using the Ralph McQuarrie influence, but it feels like original trilogy planet, because it's like, wavy field, planet, right? And I think Dantooine kind of had that vibe in the Clone Wars micro series, but it was a kind of a major real life environment that hadn't been sort of planetized in the way Star Wars did, and it felt right. It was like the whole community. Obviously, there are urban centers in Lothal, but it gave it this very, watching that tall grass, wave in the wind, gave it this sort of peaceful, agrarian, community-based, this was a good place before the Empire came here in the design of it. And I really love that it fit in a little bit with Tatooine and having that vibe of it's a smaller place. It feels very agrarian and community based, but it wasn't a place that that our focal character was desperate to get away from. Ezra. It was that he was desperate to save it. And I love that they kept coming back to it. And I love that their decision, that lesson from Kanan about find out where you're most needed. And Ezra, that it was such a plot point that that the Rebel Alliance didn't have the resources to be everywhere. And Ezra made the choice of like, but I need to be there. Really recentered the planet. So it wasn't like this, like, yeah, I want to get the dust of this crummy planet off my boots. It was, I'll do anything to save this dusty planet.
I think it's a case of home is where the fight is for those characters. And I think you're absolutely right to, I mentioned the Tatooine thing, but yeah, it's not a starting point. It is the point. And yeah, I love it. And yeah, hopefully see more of it, some Loth cats and all those things. I trust we will.
And the Loth wolves teleporting you around the planet, all sorts of fun stuff.
Don't forget those Loth wolves. All right, number 4, Lothal. 3 for you. You have 2 more. I have 1 more. It's getting down to it here.
Okay, now this is the hard one where I really need to make a difficult decision because there's so many different sources of planets. There's one that must be on my list, but that could maybe be number 1. Okay. So would you think, should I go with the one that must be on my list and risk ending up with a weird number 1?
Here's what I say. For me as a sports fan, the football season's coming back. Go for it on 4th down. Take a risk. Okay. Yeah, that's what I think. Sorry, I sound like a football coach there. Take that risk. 4th down, Scrimshaw.
Okay, then I'm going with the planet that must be on the list.
Okay.
And that is Exagol.
Ooh,
and
okay.
I don't know if that was high on your list or on your list at all. I know you like Exagol.
Do love Exagol. It wasn't on my list to be placed. It was going to be a close call.
Okay.
But it belongs in this podcast, so I'll say no more. I'll add things Excellent. When you're done.
We talked a lot about Mustafar and how it was just a great manifestation of the dark side with absolutely no subtlety to it, exploding red hatred at the place where Anakin's life falls apart. I love the design choice to go like, okay, well, we can't really do that again. We have other great creepy planets in Moraband and the one that was featured on Rebels, Malachor. This is the big swing. This is the Sith home planet to match Ahch-To. So what should it be like? And I don't know what designer, I don't know what writer, I don't know if it's J.J. Abrams who came up with, what's the most evil thing in the galaxy? Being really dry.
Stay hydrated, kids.
Being so dry that lightning just cracks the sky. It's a planet that feels like Palpatine's skin. Just flaky and dry and disgusting. Apologies to anybody who was having.
Sorry, I just took my water.
Problems.
You can't do that to me.
We've talked a lot about the undergroundness of it. That it's this this massive pyramid, and then everything is deeper into this horrible core. Total opposite of Ahch-To, where the light side is literally rising up from the depths. But it's arid, it's barren. You have to live under the surface, but it's the lightning and the sound of the lightning. We talked a little bit on our news episode about about people getting nominated for awards for sound design and how important that job is. The sound design of that lightning makes Exagol, because it's a thing that makes me obsess on the dryness. It is somehow lightning and fingernails on a chalkboard at the same time. And it makes me feel the planet and feel just like the total absence of anything warm or fluid or organic. It's just, something stretched to its absolute limits and just barely even there anymore. And yet horribly powerful in its absence of anything of value.
I'm so glad you chose this. I'm so glad this is on your list right here. Love hearing you talk about it. It's absolutely one of my favorite locations. It means, it's the pit of Hades. It's so different. It is the location of so many wonderful sounds. Talk about great sounds. We love sound. Maybe we'll do an episode of sounds, but we can't play the clips. It'll just be us making the sounds, so it'll be part of the humor. And we know number 1 will be. But everything on there that Exagol is a playset. It is It should be the greatest Lego set in the world. I don't know if we need that. Price to go at $600. I don't care. I'll say this: the only reason I didn't think I was going to include on this list, it was going to be a close call for me, is in trying to come up. Here's this metric that changes planet to planet for me. I felt in terms of Exagol, the planet, it was like I can say I've been to Charlotte, North Carolina and Atlanta, Georgia, but really I've only been to the airports. And until Alex and Wally take you around a bar crawl in Atlanta, I don't get to say I've been there. Mm-hmm. I just feel like I know Exagol in terms of the Sith hotel they put up there, but I don't know the rest of the planet yet. And I just want a little bit more, but great location.
Yeah. But I don't think there's a lot more there. I mean, maybe there's a cross section, right? Or there might have been at one point, but it rotted from being the home of evil.
Yep.
I think once there's a Sith hotel, everybody else leaves.
Yeah,
Sith gentrification is terrible.
it's a problem. It's a problem. All right. That's a great choice. Number 3. Any other thoughts on the table you need to get out there?
No. Okay. I'm gonna stop myself.
All right. So there is now. Now it becomes this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also not a game. Here it is. It's also not a game here of what do I think you might list. It's also of like, there's so many planets to choose from. Does Joseph remember that one as a choice? Do I remember what as a choice? Did you overlook it and you're scrambling to put some notes down like I was today? Or are you going where your heart is? So I'm making a tough decision. I think there is one that would be a great number 1 in the Disney era. Again, we're ranking our favorite planets in the Disney era. I am going to make maybe another controversial choice, but I'm basing it on one of the big reasons I, as an older generation Star Wars fan, one of the reasons I love this Disney era is that I got to continue the journey. In fact, I got to grow my journey, as a Star Wars fan and kind of expand the journey into so many other places and so many new places, so many new classics. But I also got to go back to the places I love and learn more of them or spend time there where I didn't get to. So my number 2 choice for favorite planet in the Disney era is Alderaan.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Tatooine. It's like, oh, man.
People are going to hate us.
But there's some great Tatooine stuff in the Disney era. Come on.
Yes.
All right. But Alderaan's a fantastic choice because it is one of the most central planets in Star Wars, but we only got the tiniest of tastes of it in the Lucas era with the Clone Wars episode and the shot at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Yep, right. And New Hope, we spent some time watching it for about 10 seconds. And it's that mystery. And then you go back and Revenge of the Sith and you spend some time there. And then, yes, you're right. The Clone Wars, which I know bridges that weird gap. I guess you could choose something from season 7 of Clone Wars if you wanted for this discussion. But I go back a lot of times here. I love actually not just Star Wars, my life. I go with my gut. Like what does things make me feel? Maybe I don't know all the words I want to say to describe things. Maybe I don't have all the history or the notes in front of me, but I just know what I feel. And I'm going back to, go with me here, sir, to a hotel room in Anaheim in 2022. You and I, you had come over from your hotel room, and we had treats. I think we had some M&Ms. We're eating them, no crunching allowed. Where we're watching Star Wars shows,
sipping some gin. Yep,
sipping some gin. And you and I at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, we didn't go to the big event. We probably could have found our way there, but we stayed here. You and I, and the show starts. It's all great. But that first shot, where it's moving in on Alderaan, and we're going to the Organa house here. We're going, and you and I had this realization of what was happening, and you and I both went, "Oh, they're doing it!" Like we couldn't believe it, and quite frankly, it almost moved. Now I was so like, I cannot believe we're going to go back there and we're going to see more with Leia. We're going to find out what made Leia. We're going to build out from there, and we get more time with her parents. And some of my favorite moments in the show and in Star Wars are Bail and Breha and Leia. And it happens on that planet, a planet that in 2005, I was happy for 10 seconds, and I never thought we'd get to go back there. I never thought we'd get to be doing this again. And here we are, and we got to go there. That planet that was destroyed, that planet that a princess watched her entire life be wiped out, her entire family. The time we get to spend there, we get to spend some time in books. We got the Eclipse story, and from a certain point of view from Ellen Rue that's on there in the final moments. But we actually got to go there, and we got to see Leia happy. We got to see her in trouble. We got to see her become or take the steps towards becoming the Leia that we all absolutely got to know later on or earlier in our Star Wars fandom. So, Alderaan, number 2.
I think Alderaan is a fantastic choice. I think it's it was great to see it in Revenge of the Sith. It was great to spend a little time in the politics of it, and see all the 70s facial hairstyles in that Clone Wars episode, that Assassin, I believe. Great episode of Clone Wars. If you ever just want to check out, if you haven't watched it and just want to watch one random episode of the Clone Wars, I think it's a great one to watch. But the way that we saw it in the Kenobi show, we got to see its physical beauty. We got to see the challenge of its politics, with Leia and Bail and Breha having to navigate the way that they handled their not as enlightened rich family members. To see Leia's connection to nature, wanting to run out and go and play on the planet itself. For me, the fact that it was the site of Kenobi getting to memorialize Padme and Anakin and have those tender moments. And I think that Star Wars is very political, and I think Lucas has a view of what our politics when they work right. And we talked about this a little bit on in the design of Naboo of what does a planet look like when it's got a balance of nature and society, and the society is, elegant and healthy and taking care of itself. I love that Alderaan's a great design of sort of a science fiction future planet where people are making good and kind choices. And so things are nice, and the nature is incorporated into the city. It's not entirely just buried like Coruscant. And I think the design of Alderaan really does that, and that really supports some of the themes of stuff that's going on in the Kenobi show.
Well, there you go. All right. I don't feel crazy. It works. Alderaan, number 2.
Also, technically in the Disney era, we were focusing on things that we got to see, but the Claudia Gray book, Leia, Princess of Alderaan, has so many incredible details about Alderaan, and it made its appearance richer in the Kenobi television show for having read that and learning about everything Leia has to go through, and the responsibility of being a leader, and the challenges, and Breha falling and needing during her rite of passage, and needing the artificial lungs and heart. All that stuff that was built up in Claudia Gray's book adds to Alderaan immensely.
You're so right. Again, talking about, I think I just forgot one of my favorite books in Star Wars. Big plot points, and one of my favorite scenes in there is that dinner with Tarkin, which is one of the most tense scenes in all of Star Wars storytelling. So you're so right to shout that out. If anyone has not read Leia, Princess of Alderaan, recommendation doesn't even cover what we feel about that book. All right. Well, I am done, free and clear, sir. You have reached your final choice, our number 1 choice for our favorite Star Wars planet in the Disney era.
It's Stabby Rock Moon again. No, I think there's some deeper cuts that I'm tempted to go with, but I think I know the one other bigger name that you were thinking of. I could be wrong. I might have forgotten another one, but I think this one is pretty big. It's up there with Scarif of suddenly being introduced in 2016 and then becoming what feels like absolutely vital and central to Star Wars storytelling, and that is the planet, or rather the moon of Jedha. You were thinking there's another one.
This is great.
Well, I can't wait.
Jedha was close call. So yes, Jedha.
Well, I can't wait to find out what I forgot. But Jedha, I think for me, I love the actual like planet. It's kind of a deserty place, and that's cool. But it's got the various mesas and cauldrons and all those interesting landmarks. But I think the storytelling around what the planet is it is the kind of thing that I think is an original trilogy kid. This was the kind of planet that would be dreamed up in a bar conversation of like, so they call the Force and being Jedi a religion. There are people who like we're into that religion. Like, how did that work? And
Believers? Yeah.
the way it has been built out is like there are lots of different ways to interpret the Force. There's lots of different ways to interact with the Force. And this is this vision of a place where everybody can come together and say we have different beliefs, but we also have this community. And sometimes there's conflicts, but we try to work through that. And the High Republic has done a lot to build it up. In the Star Wars comics, Luke went and visited the ruins of it. But just those opening shots in Rogue One of to me, I think it's Giacchino's best work in Rogue One. The Jedha music,
Great.
that's great. Great, very driving drums, and yeah, I don't even know what instrumentation, but it's very different, but still fits Star Wars. It sounds very ancient and mythical. And then that fallen Jedi statue. Again, it really taps into that sense of the ancient, and there's so much that has come before that maybe connects us all through time. And here are these rebels with no Jedi in sight who are trying to fight, and the Jedi and the ways of the Force, maybe they're all gone and they don't matter anymore. But then we meet, Baze and Chirrut, who still believe in this place that's all about belief, and Krennic's joy, the last reminder, your holy city has been wiped out. I love it in Rogue One. I love everything that happens there, but I love it as such a building out of the lore of the Jedi, the lore of the Star Wars galaxy. And I love how much additional storytelling has really said, like, well, this is an incredibly important and focal point. If it exists, like we meet cool planets like Hoth and Bespin, of like, they're really situation based. So there's not a reason for us to go back to them a bunch. Jedha was situation based to the story of Rogue One. Like, well, they're getting kyber crystals from somewhere. Where else than Ilum would have kyber crystals? Well, this holy city. But then once it's created, it's like a magnet for stories, because of course that would be an important part for the Jedi to visit. And I think it just becomes central by the nature of what it is. And I think that's a pretty worthy for the list.
Absolutely worthy. This isn't a debate or a contest, but you'd win this round because you just put so many wonderful things out there. It is spectacular in terms of design, just as a Star Wars planet, and the concept art, and it's probably sitting down in an office going, hey, what if we did this? And hey, can you draw that? Doug, can you put that together? Like, love that. the statue. Just immediately Star Warsy in that way that we all love and are pulled in by. You and I doing, I remember we were at the first real trailer where we spent time on that planet. I think you and I were at the Collider offices that night for being on Schmoes or something. Yeah. And you and I took it in, and it just having that, like, whoa, what is this? And familiar, looks like parts of maybe Tatooine, but something more. So design, the lore behind it, and then places of importance in terms of the Star Wars story and our interaction with it as a fan, who we meet there, the partisans, everything. As much as we love having fun quoting Saw, it's because he's a powerful character that leaves an impact, and he's based out of there. The Krennic, it's beautiful moment, which is both, weirdly funny and tragic, but also of this. That's the Death Star making its first kind of mark as a Star Wars fan. Even hearing Vader talk about Jedha destroyed, like, I love hearing that, and I want to go back there, and I want to spend more time. And you're right, the comic book series where Luke goes back there and it's all half destroyed, and it's just in shambles. And you could go there, as they have Battle of Jedha in High Republic. You could go there. Hell, if our buddy Big Jim Mangold wants to go there, you can go there. It could be anywhere you want, and I'd love to see it come back. I'd love to spend time there. And you're right too. The music, Giacchino, great music in that moment, and it just immediately you kind of get what the planet is with the music. So I love it. And for what it's worth, we also got to see Dr. Evison and Ponda Bob in there too. And I liked that. I'm down on the side of I like that.
That's where we met Beezer Fortuna. Come on. Yeah.
That's actually a great point. So all I can say on it, great choice for number one. Jedha is our answer.
Okay, but now I'm so curious as to what your runner-ups were.
Yes, so our list comes down: Coruscant, Stabby Rock Moon, Baron Moon, Starkiller Base / Ilum, Atton, Scarif, Ahch-To, Lothal, Exagol, Alderaan, Jedha. Some close calls. Yes, I'll just go right to it. Don't want to bury the lead. And again, we see it in other spots. We spent time with it in other spots, but it became mythical all over again, and that was Mandalore for me.
Yes.
Again, yes, we spent a lot of time, but it was also one of those it's one of those playground planets. Did you hear Boba Fett's from Mandalore? Like something like that. So I love that. That was a close call for me. I'm glad you said Atton, but I also had on the list Lanupa.
Yeah,
which is the resort planet. Yeah.
So cool. that was a close call. Yeah, it is so his delivery of all the worlds SM-33 of the name for that world: Demon's Rest, Battle World, Lanupa.
Lanupa. So there was some. I have a couple more, but what are some of your close calls?
So I like a lot of the new force sensitive planets. Agent Kloss is great in Rise of Skywalker. I was really tempted to include Tython because we don't really get to see much of it, but the parts that we see are really cool. I love that. That's a place to make force phone calls. And we got to see Boba Fett and his knee rockets cut loose there.
Right.
The Luke's Jedi Temple that we saw a glimpse of in The Force Awakens and get to spend some quality time on in the episode of Book of Boba Fett, Ossus, where he's building, the robots are building his little huts. That is less about the planet design and more about I love what happens there. I was also tempted by Atton, mostly because of the Bendu in Rebels.
Forgot about that.
Yep. And then Peridia in Ahsoka I was tempted by. I don't think the design of the geography of the planet is that wild yet, but I love the first planet that we get to visit in another galaxy, and I love that it feels even more ancient and mythical and whimsical and all that. And then I felt like I had enough water planets, but Pabu from Bad Batch was just because our friends got to have a nice time there.
Yes. Great list. Yes. So Pabu was up. Pabu was very, very close to maybe being my 10th or 8th because I felt we got to really know that planet, right?
Yeah.
And just that day, you've mentioned before, but that day that Molly Damon broke all of our hearts by watching the trailer and said, "I think the Empire is destroying Pabu." We all went, "No!" I will forever love Pabu. So that was the closest one that was an actual choice. Other ones that were I just want to mention them, but it was that thing of is it the planet, which are always going to be cool. They're so well designed. So much work puts into designing these locations, these planets. But maybe it was just the action. Solo, which I love. But Corellia, Vandor, and Savareen. It was a trifecta of Solo. To finally spend time on Corellia. Vandor, it's the train thing. Savareen, for any, just the location, just the Falcon flying in all crazy and crashing is good enough for me. But also play, Crate, Jakku, Pasana. But at the end of the day, I went with other choices, but it could have been any one of those planets too.
Yeah. Gorman and Ferrix, both incredibly well designed, but I feel like those were for me, that was more about the city than the planet because we didn't get really to see much outside of it.
Yeah, Aldhani was that for me too. I thought about Aldhani, but I was like, it's number one, an amazing sequence. 2, it's that wonderful light show that makes the planet. Might be the drawing, but yeah, it was a close call for me too.
Yeah,
All right, there you go, folks. We've done it. Now you can go yell at us in the comments. I'm kidding. Everyone's actually really nice. Just realized this is our list. We want to hear your choices. If you have different ones, that's part of the fun of doing this show. So this is your opportunity. As always, you can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. That includes Instagram. We're putting up some clips and stuff from the shows, having fun with those. So if you see those and want to interact and engage with them, we'd appreciate that. Also, you can get merch at Fourth Wall. Links down below on YouTube, or still our T Public Shop is open. You can check those out. And if you'd like to support us directly, patreon.com/ForceCenter is that place. Follow me at CadNapsuck or go to my website, cadnapsuck.com, for those who have browsers where it works on. If not, just follow me on social. You, sir.
Same thing. If you've got a browser for it, check out josephscrimshaw.com with links to all my stuff, including my weekly newsletter, Finish Your Monsters, and a link for more information and to help out with a one-time tax-deductible donation if you're interested with the horror film I'm working on called Dead Media. Other than that, you can find me on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual spots.
There you go. That is it. Star Wars has been ranked.